Hello, welcome to Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog, and this week, as I'm sure you're aware, we're seeing E3 kick off. It has already started. EA did some announcements, which, I'll be honest, look a bit rubbish. I don't know. I was expecting a bit more from them. They've done their command from a Sheepdog perspective. The only thing they did that was worth a look was the Command and Conquer mobile game, which I'll be honest looks a bit rubbish. I can't say anything more than that about it. It just doesn't look that good. I'm a little bit peeved with that because you'd think if they were going to make the time and effort to spend money and look at a Command and Conquer game, they'd look at doing a proper one. I mean, Command and Conquer 4 was diabolical. I actually bought it, didn't unwrap it straight away, played it elsewhere, realised it was terrible, and then sold my copy completely as new without ever unwrapping it because it looked and played so badly. I feel like that whole genre of games needs a bit of a reinvention. They need to get better at kind of following that whole kind of strategy battling game. I don't know what I'd really want it to do. I kind of want it to be like the old style Euro's Revenge, Red Alert 2 era, but for some reason they refuse to make games like that anymore. And I don't really know why. I don't know who decided that those games weren't right and shouldn't be made. You make a base, you build an army, you fight it out. Just allow for bigger battlefields, bigger weapons, more variety of weapons. You know, surely the restraints on those games originally was just the fact that you couldn't have as many as you'd maybe want on the screen, you couldn't have as many different variations as you wanted, and you probably couldn't have as many upgrades and so forth as you wanted. But now they could just pack that out with upgrades and paths and all sorts and make them slightly more complicated, but just make them bigger. That's all people want, surely. Those games were absolutely fantastic. And since then, they've not made anything like it. They've just tried to... I don't know, they've just refused to do it. It was a mistake selling that all to EA, and it feels like they have just rinsed it and ruined it, as they do with lots of things. There was a lot of blooming Star Wars games. I was just like, really? I know it's popular, of course, it's Star Wars, but people really need to stop buying stuff just because it said Star Wars on it. That's just something that the world needs to just stop buying things just because they have Star Wars written on it. I mean, the amount of uproar about Battlefront, and they've just announced they've sat at E3 and announced they're releasing new updates for that involve the Clone Wars and bits and bobs, and it's like, who cares? That game is panned because you're just money-grabbing knobheads, basically. So, I mean, I'm surprised EA still even get a spot. I mean, we know what they're about. Oh, look, we've updated, our shooting games. Oh, look, we've updated our sports games. Oh, look, we've got more FIFA. It's like, who cares? I always get excited about E3 before it starts. And then when I'm watching it, I realise that I don't like most of the companies, and that's frustrating because there are some games I look forward to, and there are some games I'm just like, why are you there? Why is Ubisoft there telling us they're going to make another Assassin's Creed or another Division or another whatever? Who cares what Ubisoft are going to do? It's the same game every time. I'm so cynical about it, I know, and it actually gets me down as much as it probably gets people listening to me down, because it's just like, I get it. You made one story and now you're going to just flog it to death for the next 25 years. And when we're playing Assassin's Creed 98 in like probably only 7 or 8 years time, because there's so many of them, you'd have run out of eras. You'll be making up history just to make a new assassin in that period. It's like, we get it. Just, I don't know. What do they need to do? Do they need to just make a film and make enough money out of it that they stop? Are they going to reboot the whole thing? I'm a bit like, meh, what are you going to do? Who cares? But then I say that, I'm a hypocrite in another way, because then the ones I do like more, like there'll be the Square Enix update where they talk about Final Fantasy 15 and its new add-ons, which I won't ever play. I know I won't. I mean, that game came out already. Why are you doing more stuff about that? Why is that worthy of an announcement? I kind of want to see them do the Final Fantasy 7 remake update, because I want to know how that's looking. But the more I learn about that, the more I feel like they've ruined it, because they're instead of just updating the graphics and releasing the same game, they're tweaking with it too much, which is just wrong. They shouldn't do that. Kingdom Hearts 3 is one that's expected to talk about because it's their updated game. But again, that's still just a sequel. I'm like, is this it? Is this going to be another year of just loads and loads and loads of sequels, updates and remakes? I just can't imagine. I suppose that's the point of it. They've all got to have something up their sleeve, haven't they? Bethesda are supposed to be telling us what Fallout 76 is all about. That's tonight, I believe, or it's in UK time. It's ridiculously early in the morning. I know Microsoft have got their update as well, but even reading articles online, the articles for that are saying, oh, maybe they'll talk about what's next for Halo or Gears of War, or maybe, every year they bring out a new Forza, and it's like, who cares? I mean, is it just me? Am I just too jaded about this? People always mock me for not playing enough games, but I played a Forza game over a decade ago, and it was like all the Gran Turismo games I ever played. It was like all the games I played that were racers ever in the history of races. They're all the same every time. They're just racing games. All of the third-person story games should focus more on story and don't tend to. I always felt like most of them could have probably not released 3 or 4 games and just done one with that story spread across the game for the most part. And I don't know, the shooting games, again, all the same. They're always identical. They're always just first-person shooters with the first-person shootery stuff. The only reason people are buying them is because everybody else is jumping on that next one. It's really bizarre. And I don't even know what I'm ranting about. I'm not going to expect them to just stop selling Call of Duty and Battlefield and so forth, just because I think it's weird. I just don't get people enough that people are like, oh, brilliant. Why is it an announcement that they're bringing out FIFA again this year? I mean, I know there's the announcement from a news point of view that they're adding the Champions League in. It shows how long since I've played a FIFA game, because I didn't know that wasn't a thing. It's weird they never had the rights to it because it's FIFA, and you'd think that FIFA would just... It's such a weird money pit of weirdness. I guess kids are going to go nuts for it, but... I don't know, E3's a bit weird. I'm not that up for it, to be honest. Kev always does his reaction videos, and it's the highlight of the year, and it's a massive deal, and stays up late to watch it firsthand, and it's pointless, to be honest. Just flick up Eurogamer in the morning and have a quick look through and go, oh, I'm glad I didn't wait up for that pile of rubbish. They're going to announce some game that they don't give you much information about, and it's going to be like... They'll just flash up some pictures and it will look a bit cool and a bit mysterious, and then in 9 months' time they'll tell you a bit more information. It's not for me, is it? I don't really know why I'm bothering to do a video about it beyond just being snarky, to be honest, I suppose. I'm hoping to see more from Nintendo. I want to know about the new Pokemon game, obviously. I'm more interested in Gen 8, and if they talk about that coming out next year. I don't really know what else I want to see there. I know most of the games that are coming out that I want to see. I'd like to see something come out for the PS4 that makes me want to play that more, because since I put Detroit on, I'm suddenly like, ooh, my PS4 works and it's up to date, and I know I don't have to spend 2 hours waiting for updates at the moment, so I should make the most of it. But I genuinely don't know what else I want to see happen. I can't think of any more titles that I want them to make, other than the ones, I mentioned my top games the other day in one of my videos. If they suddenly announced they were going to do another one of them, or they were going to bring back that or whatever, then yeah, I'd be like, awesome, I'll have a crack at that. But, and that's weird considering I literally just moaned that they're releasing the same games every year, but most of those games haven't been released in 10, 15 years. So, maybe I've just got a very niche enjoyment of games, and I don't know, maybe the types of games I like aren't liked anywhere else, because if they'd said they were releasing a new Command & Conquer game that was perfect and big, then my dog's being annoying. Molly, come here. Then I'd have jumped on that. I'd have been like, yeah, they're bringing out Command & Conquer 5 and they've said it's going to be much better. It's going to be more like the first few and less like the fourth one. I'd have been excited and jumping around. But the fact that they're saying it's going to be a mobile game and you're going to have about this much space to work in and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well... I'm looking through the list quickly just because... Get me up for it, I guess, is what I'm asking you to do. What are you most excited about from this event? There's lots of movie tie-in ones and sequels and remakes and stuff like that. But what's the big thing that's making you go, that's going to be amazing? And if you say something that I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, that's just another remake of a game just with a different title and genre attached to it slightly, then I want something that's going to make me go, oh, okay, I didn't see that. That's fantastic. And I'm hoping that I will do a wrap-up one. I'll do a video in Wednesday after they've had time to all settle in and everyone's updates have had time to come out, and you know, we know a bit more about everything. And once that happens, I'll do a recap and I'll say, do you know what? Shouldn't have been so cynical. That was awesome. Great. I worry that, like every other year, I'll kind of be going, there was a couple of good bits, but for the most part, why does anyone watch this? I can't remember the last E3 I actually found that entertaining and that fun. And, I mean, it shows the amount of games I've bought in the past, like, 2 years is very slim, considering I do a gaming podcast. I'm just not that into it anymore, I think, to be honest. And I shouldn't really say that because, as I say, I do a gaming podcast, but I think gaming's a bit crap at the moment, and I don't really think companies have the inclination to fix it. I think they just want to hammer it out. We're not at this point. It used to be that it was getting like films and they'd crack the formula and they knew what they were doing and it was going to be great. But then they've gone through like this weird period where it's not like that at all. They're just releasing cheesy nonsense, and it's like when superhero films were just lame. That's how games are getting now. They just come out and there's nothing to them. And it's very rare that a game properly blows you away, which is why Detroit got me so up from playing more. But I'm looking around and I'm thinking there's nothing there. There is nothing that makes me want to go, right, brilliant, grab that. I'm just in a bit of a weird... It always happens every year. I'm fed up of going through the cycle of it, because then the game will come out and I'll be up for it again, and then I'll go back to looking around and there's nothing. I don't know how people like Power Banana will play a new game every week. It just blows my mind, because most of the stuff they're playing... They probably won't like me saying it, but most of the stuff they're playing is rubbish, and I don't know why. I don't know how they're sitting through it, but they must just find enjoyment out of it. And, you know, I sit there listening to the reviews, and I look at the game, and I think that sounds rubbish, and I just carry on. Yeah, it's just, gaming's weird, and E3 kind of just sums it all up as, we've got nothing to say, but let's just make loads of... That's something I'll play a drinking game out of it. See how many of them do these massive videos where really nothing happens. Especially when they're doing a dance video, Just Dance or Let's Dance or whatever the game's called this year. And they have this massive thing going on and they're getting people to dance and go nuts, and they'll bring out someone famous, and then it'll be like... It's the same as the other 5 dance songs we've released each year, where you pay 30 quid, then you spend 2 quid per song on top, and once it's 300 quid down, we make it obsolete and we bring out a new one, and Alright, I'm going to shut up now, because I feel like I set out to be like, oh yeah, it's E3, and then I thought, you know what, I don't like E3, E3 is nonsense. They need to fix it, they need to sort themselves out. It's making me dread Eurogamer, which I'm hoping by the time I get to it, I'll be back up for it again, but I always go through this period where E3 shows me how horrible the game industry is, and then Eurogamer reminds me it's actually decent, and then I just play 4 games in the entire year and that's it. But yeah, I don't know, that's me wrapped up. Sorry this is negative, I don't like putting negative stuff out. I'll leave it at that. I was doubting whether or not to even put this out, but I'm going to put it out because it's how I feel. Thanks for watching.